Justin Bieber asks, do you have a cool miniature mountain bike? Why'd you switch back to a DHR2 over the Dissector? Were you a model before starting Worldwide Cyclery? I'm getting slightly drunker as it goes on here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jeff. I am the founder of Worldwide Cyclery, also known as the Dingbat CEO as well. And this is volume 6 of Ask Jeff Anything, where I answer all of your guys' questions and maybe some ones that I made up myself from YouTube and Instagram. And I promise you that you will get some good laughter out of this video, as well as some maybe insightful bike industry knowledge and some insightful mountain bike technical knowledge as well. Stay tuned. The first question comes from MTB Jad, and he says, how did you fiancé the start of your business? Well, Jad, I'm gonna assume that you meant finance rather than fiancé, and I'll answer that question for you. I started the business when I was 21 in 2011, and my mom actually gave me a $20,000 loan at 10% simple interest to pay back within 2 years.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
And that was how I financed it. So my dad, I have incredibly supportive parents that I'm extremely grateful for, and I'm a very privileged, lucky human being for sure. And my dad, he actually co-signed on the building lease, and we opened up our first tiny little shop. They're not gonna rent a building to a 21-year-old Yahoo that has hair like this. So my dad co-signed on the building lease. My mom fronted $20K at a 10% interest rate that I actually, gave her those terms, and she made out well on it. But ended up paying my mom back within the first year, and the business was successful. It was very small, and we've slowly grown over the last 9 years. But yeah, that's how I financed it. Mommy and daddy money. It wasn't, I don't come from a super wealthy family, but I don't come from rags either. So I come from kind of a stereotypical Southern California middle-class family, and that's how I fiancéed Worldwide Cyclery. There you go. Parker Gibbons, what's it like being a sex icon? I wish, dude. Anyways, I'm drinking some 10-year-old Rip Van Winkle handmade bourbon because one of our good customers in California, Tony B, he gave this to us because he's awesome. So thank you, Tony B. I appreciate that. Hopefully I don't make too much of an ass out of myself filming this video drunk.
Stop being a damn fool.
Let's continue. Kim Kardashian, what's up with WC during COVID times? Well, Kim, I'm glad you asked. What's happening here? So it's been very interesting for us. I think you could say that for everyone, and especially every business. We're in very, very unpredictable times that no one really ever had a clue what was gonna happen. So when all of this started to unfold, we were fearful. We didn't know what was gonna happen. We didn't know, nothing we sell as a high-end mountain bike retailer and components and accessories, all that sort of stuff. Nobody needs any of that stuff, right? So it's a discretionary purchase. So we were very fearful that people might just tighten their belts and not ride bikes, not upgrade their bikes, stay inside, and our revenue was going to plummet and things were gonna get really ugly.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
So we kind of built out those financial models and prepped for that and thought what's gonna happen if that's, how that all goes down. How do we salvage our payroll and our staff and stay safe and blah, blah, blah. So there was a lot of talk of what's gonna happen, and that was kind of early March. As things evolved, the federal government eventually did deem bicycle stores as essential businesses. Now, there was some controversy over that because bicycle stores do help healthcare workers and people who have essential jobs who commute by bike. Do we help those people? Maybe some of them, but to be honest, we sell really high-end mountain bikes anyways. We just got really lucky on that one, and we were able to continue operating. We did everything we could to respect the CDC and sent basically every amount of the staff that could work from home. And all of the sort of logistics side of the business, it's actually fulfilling and shipping out the orders and working on the bikes on a daily basis that needed to be in the store. We're allowed to be legally, but we did social distancing and face masks and extra sanitization and all that sort of stuff. It made it really, really hard to operate with everyone sort of segregated, and some people, especially in the logistics department, couldn't work because they had kids that couldn't go to daycare, couldn't go to school, so they just kind of had to take a leave of absence, so we lost some staff, unfortunately. It was really challenging. While that started to unfold, our sales actually went up quite a bit, and more so than our sales, our phone calls and emails skyrocketed. So the bike industry has actually been in a very, very good position. There's been a few people, Pink Bike and Bike Mag, who have published articles saying what a benefit COVID-19 has been to the bike industry, which is, who was going to predict that? No one really knew, but it has. It's really helped out all types of businesses. For us, especially since we're predominantly an online business in the bike industry, we're in a good position to continue, selling product as long as we could ship it out. It did become extremely challenging. Like I said, most people that could were working at home. All the logistics staff, we lost some of them, and the ones that were here had to operate differently and separate things. And so it became very hard to operate. At the same time, our sales went up quite dramatically, seemingly overnight, and the number of emails and phone calls just skyrocketed. So there was just more people with more time on their hands.
I got nothing but time.
It got overwhelming. So the amount of phone calls and emails went about 300 to 500% above average within the course of a week. It's still running at that at the time of filming this on May 15th. We don't have 300 to 500% more people to handle those questions. So it's been very hard for us to maintain our same standards of email reply times and phone call reply times and answers and all that sort of stuff. So it's been extremely challenging. It's hard to hire during this time. Anyways, tough times. Nonetheless, we're extremely grateful for the business from all of you guys, all of our customers, and really happy to be in the position we are in. Yes, we have problems, but they are good problems, especially compared to a lot of other businesses that are more negatively affected. We were positively affected, so much so that it became very hard to operate. Anyways, that's that. Thank you guys for the business, but if you could please give us a little patience on email and phone calls, and just shipment speed time as well. USPS and FedEx are obviously really delayed, so tough times, interesting scenario. We're doing everything we can to continue supporting people having fun on bikes and get back to phone calls and emails as quickly as we used to be, while still trying to find a way to hire more staff and be more efficient and work overtime like crazy, which we've been doing for a month and a half now. So long explanation, but there you go. Who is your favorite rider to watch? Loic Bruni, professional World Cup downhill racer. He just has really, really good style, and in a race run, if you ever just YouTube Loic Bruni World Cup race runs, he just lays it on the line. He's incredible. He kind of reminds me of Sam Hill downhill race runs back in 2008, where he just friggin' goes for it, goes for broke, and he's just so talented. It's incredible, and he has such a good race mentality. I've never met the guy, but his Instagram is also incredible. He's super funny. It's probably also why I'm a fan, because he's just a really hilarious, cool mountain biker and good athlete. So there you go. Would you rather ride a retro downhill bike or a modern short travel trail bike at a bike park, and why? That's a tough question. It depends on how retro you're talking, but let's just say even 10 years or more retro. I would rather ride a modern short travel bike. Here's why. I think some of the most major differences that have happened in bicycle performance in the last decade is geometry and suspension, right? So a retro downhill bike would have more suspension travel, no doubt, but a short travel trail bike would have way better geometry, and the less suspension it had would work better. So I don't know, I just really think modern day bike geometry has come so far and it's gotten so good that right there, even if there's less travel on the bike, I'd prefer the more modern geometry. If bike manufacturers are making similar bikes, geo, components, specs, etc., at a similar price point, how do you decide which to go with? What other factors come into play that you look at? That is an extremely good question, especially in 2020, because where we're at now, a ton of brands have amazing bikes, period. And it's getting really hard for media channels, us included, to review these things and actually give legitimate differentiation between all of the different ones, because they're all using somewhat of the same brand components. There's different price points for sure. Consumer direct versus buy in a bike shop. We made a whole video about that called Consumer Direct Bike Brands. YouTube that if you haven't seen it, link below in the video description if you want to check it out. But to me, yes, this is a good question, right? Because when you look at modern day bikes, like if you're looking at a bunch of brand new 2020 bikes in a similar price range that might fit your budget, the geometry is probably pretty similar, the specs probably pretty similar, the price points are probably pretty similar as well. There might be slight little bit more from the in-store brands versus the direct-to-consumer only brands. To me personally, I like brands that have a patented suspension design. I do still believe that patented rear suspension designs like DW and CBF do work better than sort of the off-the-shelf sort of 4-bar linkage stuff. That's just my opinion. Maybe not a huge difference, but to me it's still noticeable. But brand is what really matters to me, right? I do care about brands. I do care about who's behind the brand, who runs it. Do they really care about the bike industry? Are they just a high-end mountain bike brand? Do they serve the whole market? Who are they? What's their reputation? And then a lot of other things come into play, right? Are you gonna buy a bike in store because that makes more sense for you? Or are you gonna buy it online because that opens you up to a different subset of brands? So I would say pay attention to the brands, pay attention on what makes sense for you in terms of how you're gonna buy the bike, whether it's in store versus online. And yeah, there you go. From Raymond Sucks. Is cereal technically soup? Are hot dogs really sandwiches? Are pigeons government robots sent out to spy on the human population? What's the weirdest thing you've seen in someone else's home? That is all. Have a nice day. Raymond, you're a strange man. And for those of you that don't know, Raymond works here, and he's, I think, the 3rd longest employee here, and he's the one who runs the Worldwide Cyclery Worldwide Cyclery Instagram. I'm kind of drunk, sorry.
I'm drunk, you're drunk, everybody's drunk!
That's a weird question, Raymond. I'm not gonna answer any of those. Question from Kettle Mountain. What are your hopes and dreams with Kettle Mountain? Well, for those of you that haven't been paying too much attention, Worldwide Cyclery, the crew and I, recently acquired Kettle Mountain. So Kettle Mountain is a cross-functional and mountain bike apparel brand that was built by one of the larger distributors in the bike industry. And we actually acquired the business from them, the brand and the existing products. And we're really excited. It's a new sort of fun project for us. We have huge hopes and dreams for it. We want to make a really interesting, fun YouTube channel and produce a ton of good content that is more about outdoor lifestyle and adventure and mixes in bikes. And that's kind of how the apparel line is going to evolve as well. So right now we're basically, we got the apparel line that we sort of inherited, and we're going to slowly go through that and iterate on it and introduce new styles and change styles, and then start producing media that is going to be a little bit more towards inspiring the world to have more fun, confidence, and spontaneity in their lives. I think that's going to be a really fun sort of media outlet for us to just go ahead and play with and evolve us into a different industry as well, getting in sort of that outdoor apparel industry. So it should be really fun. I'm really excited for that. If you're curious to follow along with it, so Kettle Mountain, KETL Mtn, that's the Instagram for it. Link below to the website if you want to check that out as well. But Kettle Mountain currently is completely owned and operated by the crew at Worldwide Cyclery, but we do see it evolving into its sort of own ethos, its own brand, and really being its own company as sort of it evolves and things change. But we're super excited to just build it, grow it, and hopefully make it a large, impactful business. And we've had so much fun building Worldwide Cyclery and supporting people having fun on bikes that we're really excited to do something like that, but maybe to a larger, broader audience with Kettle. So hopefully it all works out well. Dane asks, would masturbating while smoking weed be considered 1, master blazing, 2, weed whacking, or 3, hijacking? Asking for a friend. Justin Bieber asks, do you have a cool miniature mountain bike? Well, Biebs, funny you should ask. Yes, I do. That, my friend, is a miniature Yeti SB150 with fully functional Fox 36 and Fox rear suspension. How cool is this thing? My buddy Joe got me this as a gift. Thank you, Joe. I really love this. Bino! When I ride, I get chronic taint pain. Is the taint trench on the ergon seat the answer to my prayers? Honestly, maybe it is, Bino. Ergon makes a lot of really good seats and good products, and they do have a taint trench, if you want to call it that. I think we may have actually called it that in an Instagram post, which is where that came from. Oh well, anyways, we did a really in-depth video on Ergon, the brand, and all of their 2020 products. So if you're curious, check that out. Link in the video description. A lot of good stuff. Yeah, Ergon does make good saddles, and Bino, maybe that will save your taint pain. What do you do with your old bikes? That blue Transition was the best looking one so far. IMO. I agree. That blue Transition was probably the best looking bike I've ever made. I think either that bike, which you can see right now, or that one raw Yeti SB45 that I built with the custom painted fork lowers was probably my two most gorgeous looking bikes. But I don't know, look at my Uno as well. That's my current recent one. That one's pretty good looking. I don't know, it's a tough call. All my old bikes, just like all bikes, man, we're a bike shop, we sell them. So usually my bikes end up getting sold because somebody emails in or calls in or comes in and says, hey, I really want that bike. And we sell the bike. So I usually only ride bikes for about 3 to 6 months at most, and then I just turn them over so I can continuously ride and test different bikes, especially all the brands that we sell. So if you're ever curious about buying one of my bikes, just send an email because everything's everything's for sale.
What an idiot!
We're a business. I'm getting slightly drunker as it goes on here. If you were stuck on a deserted island perhaps, with a mermaid, would you rather have the top half of them fish and the bottom half human, or top half human and bottom half fish?
I'm not doing none of that.
Biker Braid, were you a model before starting Worldwide Cyclery? I was pretty stoked that question came in because check out who Biker Braid is. He's freaking epic mountain biker, insane.
Smile with her face.
Favorite helmet you've had so far? Well, that's a tough question. I have a POC Tectal race helmet right now that I love, except the spin pads totally suck. I usually like to take my pads out and wash them after every ride when they get sort of soaked in sweat. And the backing on those spin pads has just been ripping off, and I've like super glued it back on. Then this like gooey spin stuff inside the pads has started coming out. Here's a little clip I actually posted on an Instagram story just a couple weeks ago. Hey POC, you know, I really love this helmet, but these pads royally suck. I'm getting a Smith helmet. So as you can see, those pads kind of suck. I think POC is going back to MIPS and will then change the pads, but I love the helmet otherwise. Like, it looks great, it functions great, it fits great, super nice, but yeah, I was just really disappointed in the pads. So I think I'm going to try a Smith helmet next, because yeah, we just got a whole huge batch of those Smith mountain bike helmets in, and they look awesome, and I've heard really good things. So I think that's probably where I'm gonna go next, but I haven't really had like a favorite helmet. The POC one's the best, but I still have complaints. Why'd you switch back to a DHR2 over the Dissector? You've really been paying attention, sir. That's a good point. So on, what was it, the Revel Rascal I built, I was running a Dissector in the front and a Recon in the rear. Then I did like that setup. The Dissector is lighter weight than the DHR2, and I really did like that setup. It was super light, good for a trail bike. Then I went to a trip in New Zealand with New Zealand Mountain Biking. He runs New Zealand tours down there, and it was amazing. But coming into that, I looked at all the trails we were going to ride and how that trip was going to play out. This was back in December of 2019. I realized I needed sort of a more robust tire setup than a Dissector and Recon. So I swapped the Dissector that I had in the front to the rear, and then I put a DHR2 in the front, which is kind of like my go-to front tire that I always use. All of these have been 2.4s, by the way, on my 130 mil travel Revel Rascal trail bike. I think the DHR2 in a 2.4 gets better traction up front than a Dissector, but it's also heavier. So if I'm going for more lightweight trail bike, I'm gonna go Dissector, Recon, hands down. If I'm going a little bit more aggressive, I'm gonna go DHR2, Recon, or even more aggressive, DHR2, Dissector. Even more aggressive, Assegai in the front, and then Dissector in the back. So kind of just depends on where I'm riding, and then the season, right? So the traction's really good, soil's moist, then you don't need as grippy of tires. You can get away with some lighter weight tires. If it's dry and dusty in summertime, then you need a little bit more traction. Flying Dutchman, tell me about them clackers again. Well, we recently reviewed the Fox 38 fork. Check out that YouTube video if you haven't already seen it. And yeah, I introduced a new character called Jeffrey Tudlow. And Jeffrey Tudlow has a packed lip, and he gives redneck bike reviews. Well, check it out. Hi there. My name is Jeffrey Tudlow, and I'm gonna give you my honest review on this here Fox 38. So this baby, it's a new one. It's got a thick 38. But let's cut to the chase. Everybody wants to know, how does it climb? It climbs good. Not much bob. Oh, a little bit of bob. Not that light. Had a lighter fork. We got a high-speed clacker, low-speed clacker, rebound clackers, air. That's about it. Let me know if you guys need any other information. It's pretty good. Where do you see Worldwide in 5 years? I think, I don't know, maybe similar to where it is now.
Same, but different. But still same.
I love what we've built. You know, we don't have a huge company. We've got about 30 people between the 3 locations, but I think we've really leveled up I'll say this humbly and not humbly, I think we've leveled up the customer experience in the industry in terms of what a bike shop can do and the value it can provide to the mountain bike community through media and through customer experience and customer support and shipping speed and availability and all that sort of stuff. I'm really proud of what we've done and what the team's pulled off, and we have such a fun time. We have a lot of really great customer testimonials that I'm really proud of. We have a lot of amazing staff that has like almost no turnover, and we have such a good fun team, and it's a good family, and we're really enjoying what we're doing. And we love being in the bike industry and supporting people having fun on bikes. That's like a huge part of sort of our mission and why we exist and what we do this for. So kind of just want to continue building on that. I really am focused on building Kettle and doing cool things with that as well. I'm focused on evolving Worldwide even more and just being like a really great media outlet that's valuable to the mountain bike world, and a really great retailer as well that, you know, allows our team to really provide just awesome customer experience across the board to the whole mountain bike community. And of course, I had to include a couple of the dozens of questions regarding my ridiculous hair. Well, at least now I kind of have an excuse because it's quarantine hair, but it's looked like this for like 5 years or 10, 20 years. I don't know. So I don't have an excuse for my hair. Anyways, here we go. Do you keep that haircut so you look like you're moving fast at a tremendous rate of speed even when you're standing still? Heck yeah. And the last question, which I had to include, why is Jeff's head shaped like a Kings Hawaiian dinner roll? Here's a picture of a Kings Hawaiian dinner roll. I actually never even considered that, but when I saw that question come in, immediately Adam, who manages a lot of the YouTube comments, sent me a screen capture of that question and a picture of a Kings Hawaiian dinner roll. And yeah, it resembles my head. It resembles my hair. I don't know how to feel about that. It's kind of funny. Oh well. Anyways, here is a miniature rhino, and here's a kazoo. Hit the subscribe button. See you guys next time.